Well, sir, it's late afternoon as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And here in the living room we find Mrs. Victor Gook and young Mr. Rush Gook. The latter is standing beside the Davenport removing his overcoat, having just this moment arrived home. And his mother, glancing at him, observes...
You look sad.
I am.
Get a bad mark in your algebra?
Uh-uh.
What's the matter?
Bernice died today.
Who?
Bernice, Howard's sister.
What you talking about? Howard who?
Mr. Gumpox's horse, Howard.
Oh, give me a start there for a second.
Oh.
His sister died,
Passed away this morning at exactly 2 minutes after 11.
Too bad.
Yes.
Was it an old horse?
16.
That's pretty old, isn't it, for a horse?
Yes.
How old is Howard?
14. Bernice was his elder sister.
When did you hear the news?
Just now. I was coming along the alley on my way home from Tapman's vacant lot, and when I went past Mr. Gumpox's shanty, where he keeps his garbage wagon, I saw both him and Howard standing outside. He drew me off to one side and told me what happened.
Drew you off to one side so Howard wouldn't hear?
Oh, I expect Howard wouldn't have understood if he had heard, but it was kind of the decent thing to do. Mr. Gumpox was quite upset.
Was anything in particular the matter with what's her name?
Bernice.
Bernice?
She's never been very well. Delicate constitution. I understand everybody in Howard's family is delicate.
Howard certainly is. The way he stands with his head hanging down by his knees, a person would think he was going to fall down any second.
He will one of these days.
Howard got any other brothers and sisters besides this Bernice?
One other brother, Kenneth. He's in the employ of the Anderson Cartage and Transit Company.
Gray horse,
Yes. Kenneth's the baby of the family, only 9 years old. But he's not very strong either. Coughs a lot. I see him every once in a while. Takes after Howard quite a good deal. Same shaped head and same color coat and mane.
Has he been notified about Bernice?
This business don't strike me very funny, Mom.
Oh, well, land, some old horse.
Yes, some old horse. But Mr. Gumpox is very much upset. The handwriting on the wall, Rush, he told me just now. Bernice passed away today, and won't be many more days before somebody else does the same thing. And he nodded his head significantly at Howard. Oh, by the way, I promised I'd tell Uncle Fletcher.
What's Uncle Fletcher care?
Mr. Gumpox seemed to think he'd be interested. At least he asked me to telephone him. So I guess I'd better do it. Mrs. Keller's number is 5697J. See, Uncle Fletcher spends considerable time in Mr. Gumpox's company and naturally takes an interest in Howard and Howard's affairs. It's understandable.
I wish you'd quit talking in that mournful tone of voice, Willie. Gives a person the fidgets.
5697J.
Yes, 5697J.
I beg pardon?
5697J, not 5697J.
5697J, please.
Operator will think you're calling for the hearse.
I suppose it is comical to feel sad about some old animal dying, but I've got a lot of sympathy for Mr. Gumpox. He works shoulder to shoulder with Howard. Day in and day out, him and Howard are together. All right, Howard's sister all of a sudden goes to work and kicks the bucket. Don't you see how he might... hello, Mrs. Keller. Rush Cook, Mrs. Keller. Is Uncle Fletcher at home, Mrs. Keller? Oh, I see. Well, will you please? Thanks very much. Goodbye, Mrs. Keller. He's not there right now, but she expects him any minute. She's going to have him call me back.
You sounded like you had bad news.
Well, haven't I?
No sense in disturbing Uncle Fletcher's landlady.
No.
You going to sit there with that long face and stare at your shoes the rest of the afternoon?
I'll cheer up directly.
I hope so. Where'd Mr. Gumpox find out the information about Howard's sister?
Raymond Belcher Bierman ran over with the news.
Who's that?
Milk wagon driver.
Was Bernice a milk wagon horse?
Yes. It's hard work pulling a milk wagon around. Bad hours, too. Know what time a milk wagon horse has to get up in the morning?
What time?
3:30. Anybody will weaken under a strain like that, morning after morning after morning. But Bernice was cheerful and willing. Raymond Belcher Bierman pays her the tribute of saying Bernice had the sunniest disposition
Oh, stop it. Give a person the willies. Go outdoors and play, why don't you?
I must wait for Uncle Fletcher's phone call.
I'll tell him the news when he telephones.
Mr. Gumpox expects me to notify him in person.
Oh, gosh. How'd you come out on that algebra examination you were talking about at the dinner table this noon?
Quite well, I believe. There were 10 questions, and I knew all of them except the second part of the third. I expect I'll get a grade of 90 at least. The reason I
quit
think...
talking like that. Lance.
Bernice was considered very good-looking. Good-looking for a milk wagon horse. She had a glossy coat.
Let's change the subject. I don't want to hear any more about Bernice. What you going to do tonight? Go to the picture show?
Possibly.
They got a good show on.
What is it?
Gloria Golden and Four-Fisted Frank Fuddleman and something or other.
I am distracted with love for you, Assistant Umpire Williamson?
I guess so. Maybe I can talk your father into going.
Bernice passed away quietly.
I said I didn't want to hear any more about Bernice. I feel like a picture show tonight. Hope I can get your father loose from his easy chair and noose.
For me, probably.
Might be Miss Denbaum.
Shall I answer?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, Rush, you're such a cottonhead.
Hello? Oh, yes, Uncle Fletcher. Say, Uncle Fletcher, brace yourself for a shock.
Oh, will you cut out that nonsense?
Oh, you heard? Oh, I see. Yes, I know. Very much upset.
Oh, Rush.
Yes, he told me. Yes, very sad. True. 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 True.
Goodness.
Well, that was all, Uncle Fletcher. Mr. Gumpox asked me to notify you, and I promised him. Yes. Exactly. All right, then, Uncle Fletcher. All right. Why, she's sitting right here, Uncle Fletcher. Would you care to... Okay. Uncle Fletcher says hello, Mom.
Hello himself.
She says to tell you hello. Yes. Yes, it's very sad. Yes. All right, then, Uncle Fletcher. You bet. Goodbye. He'd already heard the news. He saw and talked to Mr. Gumpox right after I did. He said Mr. Gumpox's eyes were suspiciously moist. Mom, a very, very strange thing happened this morning.
This more about Bernice?
Yes. Bernice died at exactly 2 minutes past 11.
Yes, that's very strange.
I haven't told you the strange thing yet.
Tell me the strange thing.
At exactly 2 minutes past 11 this morning, Mr. Gumpox and Howard were going up the alley between Kelsey and Evans Streets.
Well?
At exactly 2 minutes past 11, for no reason in the world, Howard stopped dead in his tracks.
Really?
Stopped dead in his tracks. For no reason. Mr. Gumpox says, "Get up, Howard." Howard never moved. "What's eating you, you fathead?" Mr. Gumpox says. And after a little bit, Howard heaved a heavy sigh and continued on up the alley. Is that peculiar or not?
It's peculiar.
It's most peculiar.
which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up the next block. And there we leave Crisco's Vic and Sade until tomorrow. You know, I keep urging you ladies to try the new Sure Mix Crisco for cakes, because I know that once you get the full benefit of Crisco's 3 exclusive cake-making advantages, you'll be glad you tried it. For new Crisco's different from other shortenings. It's made by a special patented process, and it's the only home shortening we know of that can now offer